Now, some of you may have observed that I'm just hanging out in France so far for the Rococo. In terms of the style, it establishes itself in France, but it quickly spreads out of France and it becomes all the rage across Europe. Isn't that something that Louis would have loved? Remember, he established the École des Beaux-Arts, the School of Fine Arts, to make France the center of culture. And what we're seeing here is that it has happened. Everybody's now turning to France, not the Italian peninsula, for the establishment of new styles or innovative ideas. And this is going to be for the rest of our time together. So it spreads out of France. We don't make a distinction about French Rococo or English Rococo or German Rococo in this class because we're giving a very broad look, and in most dialogue, it's not distinguished by region, unlike the Baroque. To help illustrate the point that it spreads, this is a French artist, François de Couville, and this is another Hall of Mirrors, but this is not in France, and it's not for the French king. This is in Munich, Germany, and it's at, oh goodness gracious, I apologize for my terrible German, the Amalienburg, which means the hunting lodge. You know, because obviously this is a hunting lodge. Everybody needs a Hall of Mirrors hunting lodge like this. Pale blue, and then the gilding here is silver. Oh, the reliefs are they're covered in silver, and then we have these bronze framed mirrors that dazzle the eye, and it's just a beautiful example of the Rococo, and it's not in France, it's in Germany. You want to see the outside of it here. You know, just a basic hunting lodge, the Amenlenberg. Yeah. Calling it the Hall of Mirrors is obviously to connect uh, the the I'm blanking. I believe he is a a prince, a prince of Prussia. Is he the king of Prussia? I can't remember. And his palace with Versailles. Look at that. I like to have people in the room to give you a sense of scale. If you want to experience one of these Rococo rooms for yourself, once the stay in place order is over and the Legion of Honor reopens, go. Because the Legion of Honor has an entire room that was taken panel by panel from an hotel in Paris and brought over to the United States. It was made between 1735 and 1740, and it was brought over or purchased by, oh gosh, some rich American guy, and he installed it into his house, but he stripped off all of the gilding and the paint because in the 1800s it was all the rage to have exposed wood paneling. So the carved oak that you see here is the original paneling, but this is not how it would have originally been appreciated. It would have been painted in those butter yellows with gold gilding. Oh, it's a shame. It's a shame. I know. I know. One more, just quickly here. This is also in Germany. I'm not saying that Germany is the only other place that has Rococo. These are just the ones that are in your textbook. But I like this one because it's not a palace, it's a church. So we can see the Rococo style isn't limited to just domestic spaces. And here the incrustication of the Rococo is serving for a more dramatic and elaborate spiritual space. Look at that soft, pale colors. Oh, the blues, the yellows. Look at the painting. Oh, man. You can see how it's still lending to the drama of the Baroque, like the Italian ceilings that we saw before, but oh, it's just softer. It's Rococo. The incrustation here. Look at the space. Even the nave The circular altarpiece in the nave, it's almost like an arabesque line. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. This is the high altar. I believe this is a Baroque painted altar, and then around it is a Rococo framework. The Rococo is still part of fashion. Vivienne Westwood, who is an amazing fashion designer and activist, she did a series in 1990 called the Portrait Collection, where she used silk screens of Rococo paintings in the bustiers. Later, she did Les Femmes collection, the women's collection, and it was heavily based on the gowns that she saw in artworks by Watteau and the Fête Galantes. Same year, she did Vive la Côte, or Long Live the Flirt, or The Life of the Flirt. And you see the elaborate kind of flouncing and frills and bows and all of the decadence that we saw in the swing playing up here in the costume. And look at the exaggeration of the cosmetics. Vivienne Westwood is the only one. This is Christian Dior in the Autumn-Winter collection of 2007 by John Galliano. And you can still see the Rococo influences. And then this is a contemporary Russian artist. Her work is, she likes to do these paper wigs, and they're extremely elaborate, but based heavily on the type of costume wigs that would have been worn in the Rococo parties that we would have all been getting drunk on. The artist is Asia Gozina. I would love to have one of these wigs.